facility in Texas.
And views of that Star Factory there. Now, this place allows us to move system integration work earlier in the build process, which means more efficiency, higher quality, and ultimately faster production. Starbase is an incredible place to be right now. There really is nowhere else in the world like it. You know, hint, hint, nudge, nudge.
Now, what you might be hinting at is the good news is we are hiring. If you love what you're seeing, check out our openings at Starbase. On the engineering side, we're looking for vehicle design engineers across structures, propulsion, and integration.
And if you're a hands-on tech, we're looking for integration technicians and welders that can help us hit our goal of building a Starship every 8 hours. And to do that, we need builders.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need a lot of builders to get that down to just 8 hours.
Right? Now, beyond that, in order to keep Starbase growing, we have all kinds of roles, from baristas to HVAC technicians to EMTs. So chances are, if you're looking, we have a place for you. Visit spacex.com/careers to see all of our openings.
Every role is critical to the future of Starship. With Starbase growing faster than ever, we can't do it without you.
This place is where our future is being built, and that is a future that we are all very excited about. All right, let's dive deeper into the inner workings of Starship and learn more about this flying skyscraper.
Starship features two major parts, the ship, which has 6 Raptor engines, and the Super Heavy booster, which has 33 Raptor engines. Now, just like flights 1 through 5, the current iteration of Starship is an experimental vehicle flying for development. And with a few planned upgrades, Starship will have 3 times the thrust of Saturn V at 10,000 metric tons of thrust, plus the added benefit of full reusability. Starship 2 will be capable of carrying more than 100 tons to orbit, and Starship 3 will be able to lift more than 200 tons to orbit. Now, the amount of mass we're able to launch per rocket is crucial to creating a self-sustaining city on Mars.
Exactly. And speaking of launch mass, we should probably acknowledge the banana in the room, and our today's secret payload.
Okay, so 2 things here. The first is, remember on Flight 5, we had a giant Mechazilla decal where the banana is today. And there you can see that on your screen. Now, that decal is 3 feet tall, which might be hard to tell looking at it on the ship right there, which is why we have a full-scale reproduction of that decal here with us so that you can see the size compared to humans.
Yeah, it is bigger than you think it is. Like Jesse said, it's 3 feet high, and this is full scale, just like the one that was on Flight 5. Now, it is hard to follow Mechazilla, but I do have one better. Bananas have been used for quick visual comparisons for quite some time, and our teammates thought it was time to bring the venerated yellow fruit to Starship.
Today, we're flying Starship's first ever physical payload, which is, as you might have guessed, is a banana. That's a live view inside Starship, and if you look closely, you can see our stuffed banana payload, which is doubling as today's zero gravity or zero-G indicator. And while this payload will remain inside the vehicle at all times and will not be deployed today, it did give us a chance to do a test run of payload approval processes with the FAA, and that's something that we're hoping to do next year if we start flying our first Starlink satellites on Starship. Godspeed, banana. Some additional size for context, you can see on your screen a Starlink Mini next to a banana for scale. And to get an even better sense of how big Starship is, let's take the average size banana next to the average size human, which is about 2 meters high. Towering over our average human is the length of the Millennium Falcon, which comes in at 35 meters. Our Falcon 9 rocket with the payload fairing attached is double the size of the Millennium Falcon at 70 meters, and nearly twice the size of that is the fully integrated Starship at 121 meters tall. The ship is about 50 meters, and the Super Heavy booster alone stands 71 meters tall. And we do have plans to make the ship and booster even taller in the future. And yeah, it might be hard to imagine that because it's pretty big already. Now, Starship's first stage has a diameter roughly 2.5 times that of Falcon 9, and as you can see on your screen, with 33 much larger Raptor engines. I love this view. This is looking up at the aft end of Starship there at the engine bay. Now, moving up the rocket, the ship features 6 Raptor engines, 3 sea levels and 3 vacuum engines, which are optimized to operate in the vacuum of space. The
ship is designed for vertical takeoff and landing on any hard surface, like the surface of the moon, for example. This ship is also outfitted with 4 flaps to help aerodynamically control the vehicle's attitude during atmospheric flight and enable a precision landing.
To reach full reusability, the ship must survive re-entry not just once, but multiple times. It took the teams at SpaceX about 3 years to develop the heat shield on Starship, and development for improvements is still ongoing. The ship's heat shield is composed of thousands of hexagonal ceramic tiles designed to insulate the vehicle during atmospheric entry, where temperatures can be as high as 2,600 degrees Fahrenheit or over 1,400 degrees Celsius. The tiles are something we iterate on every flight test as we build towards a heat shield requiring no refurbishment between flights to unlock rapid reuse.
And the teams have actually already begun testing the heat shield tiles in environments simulating Mars atmospheric entry conditions, which we'll see more of in just a few minutes. You know, slightly different than coming back to Earth.
Just slightly different. And in between the first and second stages is our hot stage, which we saw in action on flights 2, 3, 4, and 5. So let's recap that last flight to understand what we accomplished and how that's changing for today's flight.
On October 13th, Starship successfully lifted off at 7:25 a.m. Central Time from Starbase, Texas. A gorgeous sunrise ascent that was fairly quickly followed by the hot stage separation maneuver, which we see here, as well as on multiple previous Starship flights. The booster then performed a flip maneuver, boost back burn, and then we jettisoned that hot stage, which you see there. The booster then performed its boost back burn, which brought it back on a trajectory to the launch tower, back to the Gulf Coast. We can see here the booster descending through the Earth's atmosphere. It broke the sound barrier again as it was coming back through. Those Raptor engines relit, and then the moment that made us all lose our minds, the booster came back for a successful first ever catch by the chopstick arms back at the exact same launch tower that it launched from. It was insane. As you can see, we all went bananas. And you did too, probably. Thousands of distinct vehicle and pad criteria had been met, and thanks to the tireless work of the entire Starship team, we succeeded on that first attempt.
And while that all was happening, ship was continuing to coast towards the Indian Ocean. It executed an excellent coast, made its way down through re-entry, relit its engines, did that flip maneuver, relit its engines for landing burn, and then splashed down into the Indian Ocean. Now that whole flight test concluded, that splashdown 1 hour, 5 minutes, and 40 seconds after launch.
Starship's 5th flight test was one of our most ambitious yet, and as we work to demonstrate techniques fundamental to Starship and Super Heavy's fully and rapidly reusable design.
And I think I speak for all of us when I say that seeing the catch for the first time was an extraordinary moment for the entire SpaceX team. We've seen a lot of wild firsts here, but that was truly an epic moment in time.
Yeah, we're not forgetting that anytime soon. Certainly one in the history books. Now, today's mission profile is very similar to Flight 5, but there are some differences that we've incorporated as we prepare for future reuse. About 20 minutes from now, Super Heavy will ignite its 33 Raptor engines and lift off from Starbase. About 2.5 minutes into flight, the booster will separate from the ship in a hot stage separation, and we've seen that occur on multiple flights, including Flight 2, 3, 4, and 5. About 2 seconds after that burns, we'll jettison that hot stage. The booster will perform its flip and boost back maneuver, and we will once again look to return the booster to the launch site for a catch by the tower's chopstick arms. And once again, we will only attempt that if both the booster and tower are healthy after launch. We were successful last time, but we should emphasize that this process is still very new, and this is still just a test, so success is very far from guaranteed today. There's always a possibility that we'll lose the vehicle. It's a contingency that we always look for.
Yeah, exactly. Now, while the booster is doing its job, the ship's 6 engines will remain lit for a few minutes before shutting down and then going into the coast phase. The ship will coast for a total of about 40 minutes or so, reaching a peak altitude of approximately 213 kilometers. Now, one additional objective for this flight during coast is an in-space burn using one of ship's Raptor engines. Doing a burn while in space will build confidence that we can do
upgrades and operational changes as we prepare for future ship catch and reuse. Today's flight test will also test new secondary thermal protection materials, and entire sections of the heat shield has actually been removed in certain areas. And on top of all that, we're going to fly the ship at an aggressive angle of attack once it's moving slower than the speed of sound.
Now this means we'll be flying nose down instead of our usual belly flop orientation during final descent. So no doubt
one more time, but fun part about to start, we are a little under 6 minutes away from launch.
All right, so we are continuing to progress now 5 minutes and 43 seconds until liftoff. Now, once we pass the T-minus 40 second mark, a number of events are going to occur in rapid succession. The ground spin and ignition systems will come up to flight pressure, and the ship will go on to propellant.
And then after that, the quick disconnect, or what we call the QD arm lockout, is removed in preparation for retraction shortly after T0. And once we pass the T-minus 40 second mark, we still have the ability to recycle the count under certain conditions back to T-minus 40 seconds. Then hold there to assess what happened and if we can proceed again to T0.
Exactly. However, once the water for the deflector system begins flowing at T-minus 10 seconds, any issue after that would be an automatic scrub for the day, as the teams will need to refill the deflector's water tanks as well as the propellant storage tanks over at the tank farm before we're able to make another attempt. Everything is still potentially go for launch, so nothing to be worried about there. At that point, basically, up until T-minus 40 seconds, all of the boards are just holds. This would allow the team to wait for final checkouts to assess propellant levels, engines, avionics, vehicle pressurization, range, weather. Occasionally, we've had trip boats lingering in the past, but that doesn't sound like that's the case today.
Yeah, not today, no shrimp boats, which is great. Everything so far is looking good. We're getting really excited here. Just a few minutes away. We're going to go back, send it over to Dan from Starbase. How's it going, Dan?
It is still going great, just coming up on about 3.5 minutes away, so we should be done with our prop load on ship momentarily, and about 30 seconds later we'll close out on booster. Our flight control team on board, or in the building just behind me, not on board, some of them might wish they were on board. Flight control team in the building behind me, they're going to have a lot of work to do right after we lift off, as we still have a lot of manual checks that happen on the tower prior to the flight director, who's going to be Tristan Pierce again today, giving a manual command to bring the booster back to the launch site. And the tower did just incredibly well on the last flight. We didn't lose any of our required redundancy for a catch, so we're hoping to see that again today. A lot of the team, really putting armor on the tower, making all of those things work, played a huge role in making that catch possible, and looking forward to hopefully seeing that happen again. Our first Starship Zero Gravity indicator, putting on a little bit of a show. And that's looking right in. That's where we're going to have Starlinks. That's our PEZ deployer. So getting its ride to space. So coming up in about 2.5 minutes, we are closing out on all of our prop load. Just heard that our fill drains are starting to close. So that means we're no longer going to be flowing propellant into the booster and the ship. We're going to do what's called pushbacks. So all of that propellant in the ground systems is going to get pushed back to the tanks, clear out everything around the pad right before we light those 33 engines and take off. Just a quick reminder, you're going to see fire start at the bottom. You're going to see the deflector start about 10 seconds before launch. Lots of water to help dissipate all that heat, all that sound. And then the engine's starting up in 3 different groups. And then about a second after T0, we should see liftoff. About 2.5 minutes into the flight, a little bit longer, we'll see hot staging. And that's when we're going to be listening really close on those loops to see if we're going to be bringing the booster back for a catch today. Do always want to caution, it's never a guarantee. We've done this once. We'll see if we do it again. We're currently going to do it. The booster and the tower are looking really good before we attempt to bring it back here. But coming up on a minute, not tracking any holes on the board right now. So as long as we don't have any last second things, which do happen, catch.
Booster engine cut off.
The return flag is set for true.
Ship engine start up. Stage separation.
All right, hot staging confirmed. 6 out of 6 lit on the ship. Booster boost back going. We heard that we are go for catch. Okay, Jesse, take it to Muse. Hopefully I got a booster coming home real soon.
The ship are good. That is the second stage or the upper portion of the vehicle. Follow along with the telemetry on the bottom of your screen. From the camera on the left, or from the booster on the left-hand side of your screen, and then the tracking cam there on the right-hand side of your screen. You'll see those grid fins,
Booster offshore divert.
and we can also see that the hot stage has been jettisoned.
Yes, visual confirmation of that there on your screen, which is great. Now the next
Starship is following a nominal trajectory.
step for booster is going into that landing burn. Again, it'll light up 13 of those engines and then pare down to 3 engines right before booster catch.
All right, now just real quick, we did hear the call out, booster offshore divert. Unfortunately, that means that we are no-go for the catch. As we said before, both the tower and the vehicle, as well as the operators on console, have been actively evaluating the commit criteria for that return to the launch tower. And unfortunately, we did not have a pass on those commit criteria, so we are no-go for tower catch.
And we did mention that we're constantly evaluating the criteria for catch. There's a lot of things that need to go well in order to line that up. Unfortunately, today, cargo, Mr. Catch today,
Very exciting afternoon so far. We'd like to send it back over to Dan, who can give us that live view experience. Dan, once again, are you okay after witnessing another Starship launch?
Yeah, totally fine. You guys have to be jealous. This is the only way to do this. This is fantastic. No, it was really cool to see it lift off 33 out of 33. Didn't go for the booster catch today. Initially, we were good, and then we tripped a commit criteria and did the offshore divert. So we went and did that water landing, as everybody saw.
Loboz is ready for initiation launch. There seems to be a position. Clear for takeoff. Alright, boys. Prepare to take us to space. Valente, mission success.
Splashdown. Splashdown in the Indian Ocean.
Splash down in the Indian Ocean.
Nominal. Loboz to mission control. That's a Loboz to mission control. Do you read it?
We read you down here in Valente, mission control.
Requesting a pickup in the Indian Ocean.
Have you checked Uber yet? They deliver packages and stuff now. They should be able to come pick you up. If not, why don't you just hang there? We're still working on a ride for there's other guys out in space. So once we're done getting them from Mars, we will be on our way to get you. Does that work with you, Loboz?
Yeah, it works. Thanks for all the people involved in this whole space launch. I know it takes a lot of people, and we appreciate it.
Buzz Aldrin.
Get your ass to Mars, says Regina Stargazer.
This is our mission control right here.
Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin. Buzz Aldrin.
Buzz Aldrin, sipping on a Parmesan. Wow. A successful launch jam, if I have to say so. I really like those, man. That was cool. That was the green screen aspect of the last one was cool. It added this new element, but I liked having the ability to sample myself the stuff going on. I wasn't even listening to the stream. I was just kind of improv it. And thank you so much to everybody who has tuned in today to be a part of this absolutely spectacular launch. Get your ass to Mars. I'm on my way. And if you thought today was revolutionary as well, damn, thanks for joining us. We had Nikki over on the boards, on the switches. That was Loboz, also known as Proto Jag, in their early days. You had some sick riffs. It's interesting. What is it like playing, man, with that with a little bit of ground control in your ear? Ebos, what do you think?
Yeah. A little bit of ground controls in my ear.
Yeah, is that what it sounds like from inside the?
Yeah. Here, floating in my tin can.
I was like, in my tin can. She left me in the launch jam. She left me. What do they call the boomer? At the end, the thing that they detach. What was that called?
Yeah, boomer.
The boomer.
Sure.
The boomer left me at the launch.
Shout-outs to Henry Invisible.
Oh yeah, shout out to Henry Invisible.
We were hoping he's going to be here tonight.
We were hoping he's gonna be able to be here. He was invisible, but it's okay. He was.
Well, maybe he's here.
Yeah, maybe he was. Maybe he was. But
I felt him.
just because you didn't see him in today's jam, you can go back and tune into Vets Fest, and you could see him absolutely rip the gig there. That man just knows how to show up to any event and throw down. This is a really cool impromptu thing. We love doing these. If you guys like seeing us live score these launch jams when they happen, tune in with us, tap in with us, let us know what you like, and we'd be happy to bring you some more. So from SpaceX to South by Southwest to Valente, we wish you a wonderful day. Ground control to Grego. Ground control to Grego. Valente, we have a Jag. Space kisses. Kisses from space. Act Detect. Thanks for the out of the world jams. Thank you for your out of the world support. Greg, you need your alien glasses for these kisses. You got your alien glasses on hand? Oh my God, Greg was frozen. He's been liquid nitrogen. Ground control signing off.